What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to another Apple Home Talk Live. This is the weekly live stream all about building a smart home. Thanks so much for joining me. I am Shane, and today I am very excited because we actually have a couple of guests, not one, but two content creators in the smart home space. Everybody join me today in welcoming Mr. Reed Kleinman and Paul Hibbert. What's going on, guys? Thank y'all so much for joining me today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome. Good to see you guys. Let's see. I think we sound good. You guys let us know in the chat how everything looks and sounds. Dan says, I hear audio. Is that a good thing? I guess that's a good thing. Brandon, what's up, Brandon? Eric's here. Jeff, what's up, Jeff? All right, cool. We got a lot of people joining the chat here. I appreciate you guys for taking the time out of your busy schedules. But I hope we can just kind of hang out and talk, smart home stuff, nerd out a little bit. Should be a good time. How's everything going with you guys?
Going good. We're busy over here. Just potty trained our 3-year-old. So, it's, it's busy.
Yeah.
And we've just finished potty training me, so that's pretty much the thing outside.
And that's your youngest one, right? Right, Reed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully no more diapers soon for us forever. So it's exciting, but yeah, we're still figuring it all out.
And Paul has an almost 2-year-old now. So how's that been?
The kid doesn't sleep, so we don't sleep. So I'll be here for about 10 minutes, and then I'll be asleep in this chair.
Yeah. For those that don't know, we are joining you from different time zones across the world here. It's actually quite late for Paul, so a special thank you to Paul for joining us around his bedtime. So I appreciate that. Yeah, we were talking a little bit offline before. How it's kind of been interesting to see, like, us three now are at different stages with our kids. Like, I was just driving or actually letting my daughter drive to school this week for the first time. So she's, my youngest is older now, and time just flies, man. It does fly.
It does.
So I will start with, let's say hi to some folks in the chat real quick. Frederick, thank you, Frederick, for joining here. And I did see somebody mention the chat issues from last week. So apparently last week there was some issues where it got kind of interesting, actually, you guys. There was some sort of issue on the YouTube side where most people's chats couldn't come through. And we figured out during the stream that only emojis were coming through. So at one point I was like, okay, just tell me what you want to say in emojis. And I was trying to decipher everybody's, and I found out that was a YouTube issue that they had for I guess a couple of days, but I think that has been resolved. It looks like all is well here. So do not worry. And I will say we'll try to get to some questions and stuff. So if you guys have any, you can drop questions. I'll try to save some questions and we'll come back to answer some of these guys a little bit later in the stream. Apple Home Authority, what's going on? Apple Home Authority, good to see you here, John. I feel old with 2 kids. Dropped my 23-year-old off at the airport today to go on his first international trip, he says. Well, I will one-up you on that, John, because as Paul just kindly reminded me off screen before we started, I'm a grandpa now, so, top that. I feel old for sure. But, it's the joys of getting old, I guess. Let's see.
You still look about 15 though, so.
I know, seriously.
Well, thank you. I'll take that.
What's going on with that, man?
I'll take it. Greg, what's up, Greg? Celebrates 53 months of membership. Thank you so much, Greg, for being a channel member. Greg says, do you know if the Thread radio in our iPhones actually can be used in HomeKit to control devices? So diving right into the technical stuff there. So from my understanding, it can, and you guys jump in if you know the answer to this. I've seen one or two companies who have like advertised that yes, you can, like that direct thread binding between your iPhone and your smart home device. But I mean, it's one of those things that's like kind of behind the scenes. I don't know. They could be making it up because it could just be using Bluetooth or something. But it was SmartWings, I know, that had a display. They make the smart shades, and they claim that you can do direct thread binding with your iPhone. So apparently it's possible, but it's kind of underneath the surface. I don't know if you can really tell.
That's how I feel about all thread stuff. I'm like, what the crap's going on, behind the scenes? The thread guy, he reached out and he's like, oh, hey, you want to cover thread? I'm like, yeah, I want to know what's going on behind the scenes. And he never reached out to me again. So,
oh man,
I want to know. I want to know.
Yeah. They definitely have. I know that was like on their radar, was to improve some of the, like, I guess diagnostic kind of stuff where you can kind of see what's going on. There are some apps that you can use that can kind of help a little bit with that, but it's still not all the way there. Let me see. George Langerbeer in the chat. George, man, where is it at? You're in the Miami airport. About to board. I can't stay for the entire stream, but Miami George tradition wanted to spread the love. Thank you so much, George. And I saw too, and I may have missed that chat here. The chat's kind of flying. Sometimes it's hard for me to catch them. But George just gifted 50 memberships. I think it said 50 memberships. That's insane, dude. Yeah, 50 memberships. George, dude, thank you so much, man. Wow, that's awesome, man. I really appreciate that. So as a channel member, I guess you guys, if you got a gifted membership, you're going to get access to my member Discord server. We also do a monthly member chat, which we're actually doing tonight over in our Discord server after this stream. So feel free to join us over there, and early access to new videos sometimes. And sometimes we do some behind the scenes stuff and things like that. So I appreciate that, George. And also Terry just gifted some memberships also. Terry White, thank you so much, Terry, for doing that. I appreciate all the love, you guys. That's awesome. And it's so great to have you guys here joining me. I think, Paul, you've got to be the number one quoted person in my chat.
That's because I got so many stupid quotes. So many stupid things come out of my mouth, and everyone just keeps saying them.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious though. I don't think I can mention like pretty much Home Assistant anytime I say Home Assistant in the chat. We get that. So yeah, you guys go ahead, drop your Paul Hibbert quotes in the chat. I guess I should have started. I should have started this. The Zigbee. There's that one. I should have started with this. I think probably everybody here knows both of you guys, but if you guys don't know, these are both awesome smart home creators. I think you guys both kind of focus mostly on Home Assistant these days. Is that fair?
Yeah. I mainly Home Assistant, and then I do use Apple HomeKit as well, and a little bit of SmartThings, but mostly Home Assistant.
Okay.
I try and do a bit of everything, I guess, but I suppose my audience is mostly focused on Home Assistant, so I think I kind of drift that way a lot in the videos. But yeah, I try and remember that a lot of people are into Alexa, and so I kind of try and focus on the general users that are going to be interested in that stuff, and somehow try and like mix in the Home Assistant stuff as well, because I know that there's kind of both audiences there.
Yeah. And Ricardo says Paul focuses on Philips Hue. We know how much you love Philips Hue.
Yeah, it's the best. Yeah, I can almost say it without throwing up in my mouth these days.
There's another one. Sponsorship canceled. This is funny, man. There's quite a few Paul quotes, man. That's awesome. And Jeff says, we have my top 3 smart home content creators right here. Awesome, man. Thank you so much, Jeff. We appreciate you. Yeah, some good stuff here. So Do you use Apple Home at all, Paul?
I have an Apple HomePod Mini, which I've been using for testing the occasional thing, but I do
Okay.
kind of, I'll get halfway through making the video and I'll realize I'm running out of time. I'll very often then go on YouTube and see who else has reviewed the thing. And if you've reviewed it, I'll often just like watch your video and go, okay, it works. I know it works because I can trust Shane. And that's a lot of the time when I'll then reach out to you and say, is it okay to just, stick your thing in the video because you've already covered it? And yeah, I try
Yeah.
and save a bit of time that way.
Yeah. Yeah. It has gotten kind of tough. Like, not tough, but like I started my YouTube channel really just doing Apple Home stuff. That was it for a long time. And then with Matter kind of coming onto the scene, it's kind of opened up the doors. And then I also just, I guess, the natural evolution of just tinkering, started playing around with different systems and stuff. So now I kind of go all over the place, but it's nearly impossible to, let's just say, for a review or something, to cover all the different smart home ecosystems and all the different ways you can like use these products. Like, for example, as just a single Matter smart home accessory, smart bulb or something, you could use that in every ecosystem these days, which is awesome. But
Aqara now, like, let's put in Zigbee and Thread into every device. And then as a reviewer, it's like, I've got to test like Zigbee and Thread in Home Assistant and Amazon Alexa and Google Home and Apple HomeKit. And then I've got people raging at me in the comments section saying, you didn't cover it in Homey. And I'm like, I can't cover it in everything. I'm like, I've only got so long to make a video, but people get really mad at you because they're like, you recommended Homey and I bought Homey because you recommended it. Now you're not talking about it. I'm like, I can't talk about everything. It's insane.
yeah, yeah, I know. And that's why I will often always use stuff in Apple Home, of course, and then I'll often drop it into Home Assistant just to see, because I kind of like you're saying, it doesn't matter what I'm talking about. I pretty much always get the comments now like, well, what about Home Assistant? What's exposed to Home Assistant all the time? So I'll at least like see, okay, what can I do in Home Assistant with it? And yeah, that's it. And there was a time where I kind of like you with the HomePod Mini. I had like the little Google Nest device, the Nest Hub Max, I think. It's like thrown in the back of my closet right now. But I used that for a little while. I had an Alexa. I don't use that anymore. So I don't know. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of Homey, I'm curious. That comes up quite a bit in our live streams here. Are you using it at all now? Either of you? I think you both have dabbled in Homey a little bit.
I'll let
Yeah,
Reed go first.
I have it. It's not set up though. And I've always like been a fan of Homey. Like I've been talking to those guys at CES for like 5 or 6 years, and I think that the platform's really cool and good for someone who doesn't want to use Home Assistant. But for me, I choose Home Assistant just because of the more flexibility and everything. But I still think it's a good option for people. I just like don't use it. I can't manage to like you guys were saying, all the different smart home platforms. I just can't manage it all. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I understand that. So kind of
I've got
same with you, Paul.
yeah, I've got it in it's plugged in over there under my sofa and it does actually run some stuff still. But I guess in the same with Reed, I've kind of got Home Assistant set up doing a lot of the stuff.
Yeah,
Homey's incredible.
yeah,
Amazing device because they've kind of made something that's insanely complicated, very, very straightforward and simple. And yeah, hats off to them. I really enjoyed their company when I met them at IFA as well. They're good people making a good product. And I can't recommend it enough. But personally, because I want to do the more advanced stuff a lot of the time, I'm kind of using Home Assistant to do a lot of it and then linking it into Homey. And I'm sure they'd be very mad at me if I didn't point out that you can do a lot of advanced stuff in Homey too these days with the flows and all that stuff, especially the advanced flows.
yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. And it's funny, Reed, you said for those who don't want to use Home Assistant, and I wanted to raise my hand there because that's kind of me. Milken Keed. I may have said that wrong. That's right here, one of the quotes probably from me in the past. I've always said that Home Assistant feels like homework. And while I do use, I use Home Assistant, but I also use Homey. And you can do, it's kind of like, I totally understand if you're all into Home Assistant, not needing something additional. For me, it's so much easier to just build those advanced automations. You can do the same stuff in any of them, really. I mean, these days, you actually might be able to do a little bit more in Home Assistant, but you can do so much with Homey. And I've linked my Homey and Home Assistant. So sometimes I'll use Home Assistant just for like device compatibility, and then I can bring that stuff into Homey and do all the crazy little advanced flows and stuff like that. But it's nice to have the options. It's probably a little overkill, but
Definitely. I've linked both together. I saw in the comments was someone asking about Hubitat. And I think a lot of people are still sort of asking that in my comments a lot, is you used Hubitat, you recommended Hubitat, I bought Hubitat, now you don't talk about it. Hubitat, I think, is another product that's absolutely awesome and has a lot going for it, but they haven't innovated in a long time, in my opinion. It's kind of, they built it up to this level and then kind of just sort of left it there, and I'm still waiting for them to do something a bit new. The last I heard from them, they were building like dashboards and stuff for it, but the dashboard that I tried was still kind of way behind Home Assistant. And I just kind of looked at it and thought, if you're going to try and compete with Home Assistant, you're going to either have to lower the price so that people want to get in at that level because it's cheaper, or you're going to have to start doing something that's better than Home Assistant. And I kind of felt like Hubitat was kind of lost somewhere in the middle. It wasn't quite doing what Homey is doing. It didn't have the ease of use factor of Homey, but it didn't have the advanced nature of Home Assistant, but it was still quite pricey. So to answer your question, I still think it's a good product. I still think it's great for its radios and its physical hardware. It just doesn't have the ease of use that's required or the cheapness to be competitive, in my opinion. That's where I'm at with Hubitat.
yeah,
That's exactly how I feel about Hubitat too.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I actually used Hubitat, I think, before I ever used Homey or Home Assistant. And I liked it for some things. I think I used Homey. I went to Homey before trying Home Assistant in my journey there. And for me, it was just the user interface. Like Hubitat just couldn't compete when it came to the user interface of Homey, whether it's just automations or just general use. It was just so good. That to me at the time was where I felt like Hubitat was kind of lacking. It just wasn't as user friendly, And I'm all about ease of use. Obviously, like being a big Apple Home guy, and I was like a graphic designer in another life, and so I'm just all about the visual elements of these systems. So I think that's why I gravitate towards Homey.
You should check out. There's this new add-on to Home Assistant in the Hacks, so the community store. It's called Cafe Complex Automation Flow Editor is what it stands for, and it looks similar to if you're familiar with like Node-RED or the Homey, like the flow editor where you can connect things. But what's cool about it is that it uses the existing automations in Home Assistant. So you can take like an automation that exists in Home Assistant already and convert it to a flow. I mean, it doesn't like erase the automation. It just like you can use the flow editor to edit the automation and add more like conditions and all that kind of stuff. So if you're like a visual person, it's pretty sweet. Yeah, I've been playing around with it for the last week, and it works really well. So that's something I would totally check out if you're like a visual person and you want to use Home Assistant, but easier. It's a good option.
I noticed that. I saw that. I think maybe somebody sent that to me, and it's definitely on my list of things to try out. Because I think somebody actually said, well, if you like Homey, you should try this. And definitely looks compelling. So I'm gonna have to give that a try and see what I can do with it. I tried Node-RED a while back because I kind of heard similar things like, oh, you can do like kind of the flows, but it just wasn't as, I was tired of losing sleep trying to mess with Home Assistant. That's why, Paul, like some of your jokes and stuff on your channel about just, the time it takes to
virginity will grow back for sure.
Right. Yeah, that definitely made me laugh when I saw that, because I was like right in the weeds of figuring out Home Assistant for the first time when I saw some of those videos, and I was like, oh man, I feel that for sure.
I was wondering. Aha moment I had when it come to Home Assistant and getting it to do stuff was figuring out that you could go into an automation that you were creating and just go edit in YAML and then ask ChatGPT to just make it for you, and then just paste the YAML from ChatGPT into the YAML editor of the Home Assistant automation and press save. As soon as I realized I could do that, Home Assistant was just completely opened up, because I didn't have to learn any coding. I didn't have to be able to follow any of the flow stuff. I could just paste a thing in and see if it worked, and if it didn't work, go and berate ChatGPT like angrily until it did work. That's been a lifesaver for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've been hearing a lot more people that have been doing that, using ChatGPT to, and I mean, just like I think last time, Reed, you and I talked on this live stream was probably like about a year ago. I don't even think then people were really doing that. Just in the past year, it seems like people are just able to use, these AI assistants to, just do all the heavy lifting, which, is pretty cool. I need to give that a shot. I was wondering why my lights were flashing back here a second ago. I forgot that I set up an automation that flashes my lights when I get a super chat a while ago. So that's what that was about, if you were wondering. But we did get a super chat from Frederick. Thank you, Frederick. Let's see. There we go. We got a super chat.
We follow the Wife Approved podcast. Yeah, me and Allie will listen to it. And I was telling Shane earlier how it hits home way too much for us. They'll be talking about things that we're like, oh man, we've had that exact same conversation so many times. So we really like that podcast. It's
thank you,
and Caroline do a super good job.
It's very fun to watch, and I'm doing an episode in a week or two with Nisha. I think we're supposed to be filming it tomorrow, and I'm looking at it thinking, are we just copying what Shane does with Caroline? I was like, I released it, and I just released my IKEA video the other day, and I was editing it, and I'm like, I'm just going to do some Google for some research. I saw your video for IKEA, and I'm like, shit. I'm just doing Shane's IKEA video.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, well, first of all, no, it's all good. That's the way it goes when you're making videos, But I first of all appreciate you guys checking out the podcast. It's very different. It's just me and my wife just sitting, for those who haven't watched it yet, just me and my wife sitting down and just, we talk about all kinds of stuff, marriage and kids and different things like that. But it's there's definitely some smart home elements and some YouTube stuff. So I'm sure other content creators, especially in the smart home space, can probably relate to some of our stuff, especially when Caroline is like ranting about all the automations and things that I've done, getting locked out of the house because of a smart lock, or, there's some stories like that are fun to talk about after the fact, but in the moment is a little stressful.
Yep. I'm not looking forward to filming with Nisha for this episode, to be honest.
Really?
Because she's organizing the whole thing, so I don't know what she's going to throw at me, and I'm pretty sure she's going to tell me to rip out the entire smart home in front of everybody. We'll see.
Oh, man. Well, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. I'm sure. I think you've said before, maybe it was after the podcast and stuff, that Caroline and Nisha seem to be they must be fairly similar to be able to put up with us. You know?
They'd get on, definitely. I'm hoping at some point we'll be able to bring Nisha out to CES or to IFA or whatever, and you guys will get to meet, because I think that'd be funny.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. So speaking of CES, this year was your first CES, right? And Reed, it was probably your 80th?
Yeah, like 9th or 10th. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, crazy. That's crazy. So, what were your thoughts, Paul, after going to CES and for the first time? I know that was a long trip for you.
It was mind blowing. I hate flying, so it was terrifying from like the second I got on the plane all the way to meeting you guys in the cafe. I sat down with you and Caroline and gave you all guys like a hug and that, and I'm like, okay, this is awesome. Straight away, I just felt like I'm meeting cool people. I'm meeting people who have the same interests as me, and I'm getting drunk. And that was a good time. Yeah, really nice. And bumping it, I would like to have seen more of Reed. We kind of bumped into each other a few times, didn't we? But didn't really get
Yep.
to sit down and have a meal or anything, I don't think, at any point.
So,
Yeah,
Edgar in
yeah,
the chat. What's up, Edgar?
Oh, we had lunch at one point by accident.
Yeah.
yeah. We had lunch. It was like
Yeah.
CES is always so crazy, though. Like for us, we're always just like on the go, and it's just
Yeah.
and if we're not on the go, we're like crashed, in the hotel room or
Yeah.
something, just wiped. But
Yep. There's
yeah.
a lot of that. That's why I was thinking before this stream, what's is cool about stuff like this, because we do get to see each other, rarely, but it's at those big events, CES. I saw Paul out there at IFA, but a lot of the times these events, you're so busy. There's so much going on. A lot of times you don't really get to just like hang out and sit down and chat, like you want to. So that's why I like doing these kinds of streams. You can kind of sit down and just chat a little bit more than you would in those, in all the madness of those events.
You and Caroline have like way more energy than me as well, though. Like I feel so old when I'm hanging out with you guys because I'm like this. You're like we're sat on a party bus, and you guys like really enjoy yourselves. Like, ah, this is fun. When can I go to bed? It's like,
Yeah, well, it's I think it's sort of learned when it comes to CES. You have to, I think this was my fourth year, I want to say. I think this was my fourth year going. And after a few years ago, and you kind of learn like how to pace yourself, how much you want to work, how much you want to play. Some people prefer to just work. Some people this year, I think we might have talked about it some, but I tried to set aside some time and not work too much and just try to have fun, and especially because Caroline goes with me. But it's definitely like a constant struggle and battle I have to have with myself. Like, okay, I need to just relax and not work too much. I remember my first CES was the first time I met you in person. And I remember it was like one of the first nights there at Unveiled, and you gave me some advice. You were like, just take it easy, don't get overwhelmed, sit down. Don't forget to, I think you told me don't forget to eat lunch. I feel like.
Yeah.
I think you told me that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure enough, I think it was like the next day, I was just so busy. I didn't sit down. I didn't take your advice like an idiot. I should have. But that first day, I was standing on my feet the whole time. I didn't sit down all day. It was probably 5 or 6 p.m. I was like, I haven't eaten today. And I was like, okay, now it makes sense what he was telling me. And it's easy to just get like so wrapped up in all of it. But it was fun, and I always appreciated that. You were really cool, and it's just so fun to meet people face to face and be able to, even if it is just for a short time, hanging out, just getting to kind of collaborate and spit ideas off of each other and stuff like that. There's such a large smart home community that has started going to these events, which is just awesome. And it seems like it's just getting bigger and bigger each year, and it's just so much fun.
I was seeing Brandon and Edgar in the chat, so shout out to those guys because it was really nice to meet them.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Brandon has the key right there,
He's got
Paul.
the answer.
Red Bull and espresso martinis.
I'd die. I'd have a heart attack. You'd kill me.
I think that is probably how I survived some of it. I don't normally drink Red Bull vodkas, but at CES I definitely had some here and there. And they'll give you just enough energy to get through to get through it. Yeah, and Edgar said I learned so much from my next trip. So, how do you feel about it? Reed, after going for so many years, do you feel like just the smart home space in general do you feel like it's kind of getting stagnant? Do you feel like there is a lot of innovation still? I know CES is kind of like a good kind of way to gauge like the current landscape and maybe where we're going in the next year. So do you think it's moving at a good pace or in the right direction, or has it slowed down? Because you've gone for many years now.
Yeah, I think that it's still like sometimes it feels like it's stagnant, but I felt like that was mainly when everything was switching just to be like every company was like, hey, this same product works with Matter now. And that, a few years ago, that's when it felt the most stagnant for me. But there's always like cool innovations. You just kind of have to like seek them out or whatever because every year it's the same thing I see on like online. People are like, oh, CES is so boring this year. It's the same comments every single year, but there's always cool stuff. So I think it's just always like, slowly progressing, and it's just you got to know what to look for, and yeah.
Nice. Yeah, kind of a half glass, glass half full kind of thing too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like that perspective. I can see too. I've only gone for 4 years, but I can see too. Just being able to go every year, like your first year versus my first year versus my fourth year. I could see how you're like, oh, it's just like the same old stuff, but just remembering back on that first year that I went, I was just like a kid in a candy store. It's like everything is just amazing. It's, and so I try to remember that and kind of keep that mentality to a degree when I go to stuff like that.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. You have to keep that, or else yeah, I totally agree. Like it's kind of crazy too. Like I remember my first CES, there was like the world's first like 8K TV, and it was really small, and there's so many people gathered around it, and there's always just stuff at CES like that where it's just like it's still like it's still magical. You go to it and you see like crazy things that we might not see in the real world for like 5 or 10 years, but it's fun to like take a peek into the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You and Ali find them as well, man. I was like, I remember standing and chatting to you. I'm like, how are you finding all these things? Because I was like, where do I go next, Reed? And you're like, oh, you need to go over there to find the sex robots. You need to go over there to find this. I'm like, how do you know?
Yeah. Well, Allie's really good at that. That's like she before CES, she's doing tons of research to figure out all the like potential companies to check out, and so we just like walk around, like keep her, because you don't always get, you get a lot of like emails saying and press releases saying, oh, you should check this out. But sometimes you just got to walk around and kind of keep your eyes up and there's cool stuff that that didn't get emailed out or whatever. You can bump into them.
Yeah, I like that. That's good advice, because I have found myself in the past couple of years, now that it's become a little bit more routine, I've done it a few times, I've kind of found myself just going to the brands and stuff that I know and love already, and seeing kind of not the same old thing, because the good brands are still innovating and coming out with new stuff, and I do want to see what they're doing, but I've caught myself kind of falling into that trap of just Aqara and just the brands that we already know and love and stuff, and I have to remind myself like, okay, I need to go and just kind of explore a little bit and see what we can find out there. We got a question from Cody, question for fun, and this kind of makes me think of the CES. He said, is there any smart device that no one makes that you guys would love to see made? I need a lawn robot with a grabber arm. I actually saw one of those, or two of those, I think, at CES this year. So is there any device that no one makes yet that you guys would like to see?
There's a multiple, actually, for me. You want to go first, Paul, or do you want me to go real quick?
No, you go, man.
Okay, so yeah, the kind of along that same line, I saw, and I mentioned in my CES video, there's was like this little robot that would go around and it was just grabbing a ball. But I want something that will just go around and pick up toys, like kids stuff, like all over the floor, and just quickly like throw it into like a dumpster truck type, like how a dump truck just like picks it up and throws it behind itself, and and just quick, like super fast. And I want that. I don't know why it doesn't exist. Like, I know so many
Did you
parents
see?
would.
I saw something like that at CES this year. Did you see?
Yeah,
Did
there
you
was like
catch
this
that?
little robot. There was this little robot that was like picking up a ball or whatever, and it was kind of fast. I didn't see one
Okay.
that had like a full like a storage box behind it,
Hmm.
because they have the Roborock with the claw, but it's like
Yeah.
kind of slow. It's not. It's fine for a few things, but I want something that will go around and pick up like tons of
Yeah.
crap all over the
I
ground.
saw one that it looked like it had sort of like a little scooper type of thing. But it was a startup, and I don't think the demo was working. I asked them like if they could get it to work, and so that was kind of it. How about you, Paul? Anything that hasn't been made yet that you can think of?
I mean, my mind went straight to things that Theo is a problem with, and Reed kind of nailed it straight away, I guess. I think something that would pick up his crap and throw it away, but the trouble is, I guarantee it would pick Theo up and throw him away. And sometimes I think maybe that wouldn't be such a bad thing. But yeah, Nisha might not like that very much. So yeah, something that will throw Theo in a bin, particularly if he's throwing something on the floor, would be great.
Well, has he taken a
Um,
ride on the robot vacuum yet?
He does, yeah. He's a pain in the butt for it. He keeps saying, "Daddy, ride robot. Daddy, ride robot." I'm like, "No, don't ride the robot." And he's like chasing it around. I told him it'll eat your feet, thinking that would stop him from going near it. I thought if he's afraid of it, he'll run away from it. And he's too brave. He throws his toys at it now. It's becoming like his nemesis, and he's just launching stuff at it all the time. So yeah, that backfired.
That's funny. I think for me, first thing that comes to mind, maybe it's because they mentioned the robot lawnmower, and I've been using robot lawnmowers now for like maybe 2 or 3 years, and I absolutely love them. And I think we're seeing a lot of maturity in that space just in the past year or so. I feel like we're starting to get there with robot mowers where we were with robot vacuums like a few years ago, where they're really starting to like get pretty good. And I did see the one with the arm, and initially I thought it was kind of silly. There was a couple of them, I think, there. But then I saw where I don't know how well it would work, but you can attach like a trimmer to it, and it can do like edging or trim the bushes. But what I would like to see is one that can scoop up all the dog poop in the yard. That's what I need, because
That'd be nice. Yeah.
as great, I've got 2 dogs, and as great as robot mowers are, and I'm not, these are first world problems, don't get me wrong here, but every time I run the mower in the backyard anyways, I've got to go and pick up everything. Otherwise, I just have a stinky mess. And so if it could tackle that task before mowing, man, that would be amazing.
You know what I want? I want a robot mower that can take the bins from the back of the house to the front of the house on bin day. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen, but it would be cool.
Well, maybe you can get the Yarbo that has the little cart behind it, and I don't know if you can program it. You can maybe just set your bins on there all week long, and then when it's time, you could just control it and just drive it up there. I don't know. Maybe that will work.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Let's see. I think we got some other questions here. Let's see what we got. Dan says, with having complicated smart homes, do you have a document or plan for what would happen if, God forbid, you're gone and your family has to manage your smart homes? Interesting question there.
I think it would be great to just leave it as it is, so Nisha can see what I've done for her all these years. You'll understand then. She'll go, "Oh, yeah, it was worth having Paul around after all."
That's funny.
Let it all go to shit. That's my plan.
Yeah, that plays out a little bit differently in your head than it does in my head, here, at least here in my house, because I envision Caroline, like day 2 of me being gone, Caroline just cursing up a storm and ripping every hub out the wall. And she would just go back to living, like prehistoric days, no smart home. I don't think she would mess with it.
Yeah, that's exactly. Allie would do the same thing. She would just unplug our home assistant, and that'd be the end of it. And, yeah. I mean, it's just like there's no way she's gonna try to maintain it or anything like that. So
right, yeah. Rest in peace to the smart home. Yeah, that's why it's important to have light switches that you can still control from the wall. So even if the wife unplugs everything and you're gone, you can still turn the lights on and off.
That's right.
Let's see. Question from Eric says, do you guys think companies will drop their works with, I guess, those badges for Matter and Alira logos? Any thoughts on that?
I don't think they're going to drop works with Matter anytime soon, because the industry is still pushing it like it's like the godsend we've all been waiting for, when actually pretty much every device I get to pair via Matter is a load of garbage. But
I think what he's probably, what I assume he's asking is if they'll drop the works with maybe HomeKit, Alexa, Google Home, and use just Matter and maybe Alira logos instead. Is what this is the way I take that. And I personally, I've kind of thought that maybe one day that would be the case. Like, that's what I would like to see. That is ultimately the whole idea behind Matter, is that you can buy this and it just works with any smart home ecosystem. So if it says Matter, why do I need to see that it says works with Apple Home or works with Google Home? If it works with Matter, it should just work. So I think maybe one day we could see something like that, but I think there's still not enough consumer education around it. I think, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think
I think once everyone now everyone knows what an Echo is. You ask any or Ring or whatever, but that wasn't the case, years ago, and so. I think once Matter is like that, then they can do that. Once everyone knows what Matter is, versus what's Matter? The average person might not know what Matter is. So once everyone knows, then I could see that happening.
Yeah, I agree. I think that might be the case. It would be nice. I hope to see that one day, and it seems like we are on that path, but it's just it'll take some time, I think. There was a question here. Speaking of Matter and Alira and stuff, this one says, probably for Paul, I have a pretty standard mortise style lock, handle on top, key underneath. Any smart locks to replace this, please? You have any preferred smart locks, Paul, over there for these style locks?
Yeah, the trouble with this is I don't know what a mortise style lock means. When it comes to different lock styles, I'm terrible. Is that the European one with the handle like most of them over here?
I think so. I think it's the one with the two latch. I guess it's latches in there. I don't know. I'm terrible too with this,
because you have to pull the handle up to lock the door like you have over here, which is dead annoying because it makes all smart locks awkward. Most smart locks, I have this conversation with people in the comments all the time. I say, when you leave the house, just pull the handle up like you normally would, and then leave the smart lock to do its business, instead of pulling the handle up and locking the door. And people are like, I won't be able to get my kids to remember to do that. I'm like, but your kids already do that. Your kids already pull the handle up as they leave and then lock the door. Just tell them to pull the handle up and walk away instead. So I don't know. Is that the right thing? We don't really have mortise over here in the UK. Perhaps.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah. See, I have a hard time with that too, because in the US it's simple. It's just pretty much deadbolts everywhere. And I get questions too about all the different types of locks. And I thought you guys had mortise locks in the UK, but apparently not. So
lift and lock is what the chap's calling it. Apple Home Authority saying it's lift and lock, which is the one that I'm very familiar with. That's what we had growing up, and that's what most of my friends still have.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, that sounds like that would be difficult to make smart. Do you guys have do you have a favorite smart lock right now?
Yeah, the switch bot lock Pro or Ultra, whichever one it is that you can pair the Vision keypad to, and
Yeah, the
the
Ultra, I
latest
think.
one. I love it. Really cool.
Yeah, nice.
I'm still using the Schlage Encode Plus, and I'm testing out there's the WeCharge, or the wireless power to it,
Okay.
and so it just always stays charged up. That's pretty sweet. Like it's a retrofit for it that they're gonna start selling, and
Oh,
so I'm doing that. But I haven't. But I have the Aqara U400 that I haven't tested out yet, but I'm excited to try that one.
yeah, that thing is awesome. I love the U400. That's what I've been using here for a little while. It was the first lock that I kind of got tired of smart locks because there's just so many of them for a while, and then that one came out, and this is the first time I got excited about a smart lock in a while. So that ultra wideband is great, but right now that's an Apple Home thing, the ultra wideband feature. But they did I don't know if you guys saw this. I think it was earlier in the week. Thanks to Aliro, you can now use NFC with Samsung Galaxy phones for like the tap to unlock. And so I'm pretty sure that ultra wideband is also going to be coming to like Samsung phones and stuff like that here in the near future, thanks to Aliro. So that'll be good for all the non-iPhone users out there. Here's a quick question I'd like to ask you guys, or especially, I think Reed, you use some UniFi stuff. I'm not sure, Paul, if you've dipped into UniFi at all, but the question here is, are the SuperLink sensors worth the cost compared to Aqara?
Oh, I haven't tried out any of the SuperLink.
Oh, you haven't tried the SuperLink sensors yet? I've got one actually right here. This is the door sensor. It's pretty big.
Oh, okay.
I guess my thoughts on that are, if you're like all in to I don't know. I really haven't been testing it long enough, honestly, to give a great answer. I think if you're all into UniFi, then they're nice. Quality is amazing. They work great with UniFi Protect and all that stuff, but it just falls short with the compatibility. I mean, you can get them into Home Assistant, but like I've been trying to do like some security system stuff with mine, and I just can't really get the security system aspects like over to Apple Home or Home Assistant. So it kind of falls short in that regard, but just as like sheer performance and everything, they're great if you just want to use them with UniFi. That's my take on that. Paul, have you dipped into UniFi at all?
No, I'm not sure. The name sounds familiar, but I mean that's as far as my brain is taking me on that one.
Well, they make a lot of the networking gear that a lot of people use, like my router and access points and all that stuff. That's how I first got into UniFi. Was I redid my whole network rack at one point.
It's not Ubiquity, like a
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's Ubiquity.
Yep.
Yeah, so they do the cameras.
Got any of their smart home stuff?
Okay. Yeah, they've got the cameras. The SuperLink sensors are fairly new. Like they just kind of started coming out with some of the sensors. There's a water sensor and a couple little things like that. So
yeah, what's hard for me is my previous house, I would test out all these like door sensors, and like one of our doors would have like 3 stupid door sensors on it. I was like, this is so ugly and stupid. And when I moved to this house, I was like, I'm gonna pick one and I'm just gonna stick with it. So we have Ring, and it's pulled into Home Assistant, so I'm using it for security as well as like automations and everything. And I'm like, it's just hard for me to be like, oh, I want to like put another sensor on our door to test out. So that's the hard thing for me, is that.
Yeah, well, that is exactly why mine is sitting on my desk right now. In fact, I've got that, and I've got another one right here. We've got IKEA. I was in the same boat. I was looking at one of my doors, and there was 3 of them stacked on top of each other. And I said, all right, something's got to change. I can't do this. And then I rip them off, and it peels the paint, and it's just the whole thing. So I've tried to stop doing that. Speaking of the IKEA stuff, that's been like kind of a big topic. Everybody's kind of interested in the IKEA stuff. Paul, I know you just made a video going out there. What are your thoughts on the IKEA stuff Yeah, see, we
This
don't
thing is
have that.
magic.
Yeah, we don't have that one available here, man. So I didn't get to
Oh
test that one
man,
out.
you guys are missing out, dude. This is not working right now. It doesn't work. Oh no, there we go. Oh, I turned the lights down. There we go. It just took a second to kick in.
Nice.
But yeah, that's it's so cool. So cool. Good fun to play with in Home Assistant, and actually has been genuinely useful on my desk. People kind of bitch at me sometimes for these things, saying like, why aren't you using your face hole to talk to something to change the lights instead of using something like this? I'm like, well, because sometimes I've got a headache, or sometimes Nisha won't shut up, and I have to grab something and use that instead. And this has been great on my desk for just picking up and doing a quick click. Yeah, and I spent a bit of time making a blueprint in a Home Assistant for it, so that a single click does something like 5%, but a good old swipe of it does more like 80%. And so it's got some, yeah, some pretty cool functionality that you can really kind of get your teeth into and properly tinker with. Really like that thing.
Nice. That's
What,
awesome, man.
£4?
Yeah, it's the pricing. The prices are insane. That's why I had to try them out, and there were just so many people asking about them. So I've been pretty happy with all the stuff that I tried. They were kind of a pain to set up. I was having some issues, and it's just I think sometimes that might just be the nature of like Thread and Matter, and so it's been kind of hit or miss when I'm adding Thread devices to my house. Sometimes they work great. I've had like great luck with all my Thread locks, but for some reason sensors sometimes and like buttons and things just it just takes a bunch of tries. But once I got them in there, everything's been working pretty well.
I think what I'm
So
seeing from the comments section and stuff is that I think the more things you have, the more likely you are to run into problems pairing Thread devices. I think when it comes to YouTubers like us who have loads of flipping HomePod minis kicking around and Amazon
yeah,
Echoes and Tado radiator thermostats with a central heating thing in the cupboard, they've all got Thread border routers in them. And I think when you're trying to pair stuff, I think for one example, I think the Tado thing in my boiler cupboard is a Thread border router that won't accept Thread devices from anything but Tado. And I think it's still there advertising itself regardless. And so when you try and pair something, you've got a 1 in 4 chance of it failing because it's trying to connect to Tado. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on.
yeah. I think there's just also so many. There's just so many factors that it could be. Multiple border routers. Like I've tried really hard to kind of streamline my Thread network and everything. I feel like I've got it pretty good, but it's still there's just so many factors. Like I've had people literally in my video were saying I went through in my video. It was like a 40-minute video. Like half of it was me just trying to pair these sensors and stuff.
I
Like,
watched that. I could see just how streamlined your Thread border system was.
well,
It's just
I mean,
screwed up over and over again.
that's my point though. Like on paper, everything is like everything looks pretty good, and it works well once everything's paired. But I do have some issues, pairing stuff. But like I've got a few comments that people were like, I had same issues. I restarted my phone and everything worked, and that was like the one thing I didn't try in my video. And I'm like, okay, but so, like, there's no reason why that should be a thing in the first place, So I don't know. I feel like you just have to like hold your breath, hop on one foot, dance around a little bit, and eventually it'll work. So
Mr. Socky has been on the channel because of Thread recently because it just doesn't work well.
nice. That's funny. All right, so let's do. We're getting towards the end here. Can I do a quick speed round? I want to ask you guys a couple questions real quick just to get your thoughts on some of this smart home stuff. All right, so most underrated device or device category in your smart home.
Most underrated.
Mine is probably.
Sorry, you go.
I'll just say real quick. Is and maybe this isn't underrated, but I've been using more millimeter wave for like in place of just motion sensors like around the house, and it's been amazing. Like the newer ones are way better than the older millimeter wave sensors. They work just as fast and are way more accurate. So yeah, that's what I've been adding those, and I've been like loving it. I probably almost want to replace all my like PIR sensors with millimeter wave sensors.
Nice. And you
Yeah.
found better experience with newer millimeter wave sensors versus some of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first
like the
ones?
Aqara Zigbee one and some of the Apollo like newer ones and stuff. Like they're just so fast and accurate. Like I
Cool.
mean, they'll turn on before I even walk around the corner sometimes, and so they're
Nice.
just like, there's way better for me.
Nice. Paul, you got anything underrated that you love?
Uh, yeah, I was trying to think of, I mean, there's maybe a couple. People slag off on my channel a lot the Lincoln Link stuff. They got a really bad reputation because of some issues they had, but a lot of their devices for their price tag are amazing, particularly as Reed was saying with the millimeter wave stuff. They've got some really low priced millimeter wave presence sensors that I think is super underrated. And again, people slag them off in the comments saying, well, I bought one, it doesn't work for me. And I'm like, you probably didn't place it in the right location because I've got it right there, right now. And it's the reason these lights have stayed on for this entire live stream. If the lights go off now, I'll be really embarrassed, and so will Lincoln Link. But I think they're not underrated as much as aggressively slagged off, despite actually being amazing value for money. And I think the Shelly stuff as well. I don't know if it's fair to say it's underrated because there's a lot of people rave about Shelly stuff, but I've got a really cool Shelly 4-button remote in place of a light switch in my bedroom now that I did a video on recently. And again, people in the comments were saying, "Oh, why bother? You could use this is just a rehashing of Philips Hue's 4-button switch." I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't look like a horrible shiny piano key. It's not like this big, and it's not one hideously ugly, and two, it works directly with Shelly's smart plugs to use the smart plugs uh, as hubs. And I thought that was incredible. The idea of being able to buy a Shelly plug that is useful as a plug and buy a Shelly 4-button remote switch that can pair to that plug and use that plug as a smart home hub, I thought that was really cool. I think that's super underrated.
Nice. Yeah, Shelly is not as common in the U.S. I think they're maybe pushing more, or maybe trying to push more into the U.S. this year, but you just don't hear about Shelly as much. I feel like over here as you do over there in your neck of the woods. All right,
Very
cool.
much a
So
European.
next one, is there one brand that's doing it right? Whatever that means to you.
I'm looking
The
around the
the
room.
biggest the biggest thing that there's a lot of like good smart home brands for me. The biggest one that I wanted to make a video about, but like when Aqara made their camera and they had some paywall features that like probably shouldn't have, like features behind the paywall that shouldn't have been. They like listened to people and they reversed it. I thought that was pretty sweet that they
Yeah.
like listened and stuff. And so to me that was pretty cool. So there's a few others like some of the, like I mentioned Apollo, they're like this small startup. And
Yeah,
yeah, they're definitely like it just feels like somebody's like listening to what people want and it's gonna
Yeah,
makes me
I,
want to
I
use
like
them
that.
versus some of the other companies.
Yeah, that's a good definition of doing it right. Actually listening to customers, making changes when either something's not wrong, or not right, or when people have feedback. And Aqara definitely does that right. Cool. How about you, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. Aqara and Switchbot, I think, are my two favorite smart home manufacturers. I love Govee stuff, but I wish more of their lights were focused on local support rather than cloud support. I still have a
Yeah,
few kicking around that I'm struggling with, and even in Home Assistant, where it's supposed to be local, I'm using Govee to MQTT integration. I still find sometimes stuff isn't working. I'm like, what's going on?
yeah,
And I go and find the API key has changed or something. And I'm like, that's annoying because I really, really love Govee's products. I think they're the best lighting manufacturer on the market. It's just a huge shame that it's not all perfectly local.
yeah.
Most of it works
I
pretty well locally, but not
I
all
would
of it.
agree. I would agree with that regarding Govee. And there was some chatter recently in my Discord server about that. I agree completely with you. I love Govee stuff. I have tons of their lights. I also have issues with the land, the local control. It's an option in there where you can utilize that. But there's something weird going on with their Wi-Fi connection and as it relates to the land control. And from what I've seen, there somebody posted like some feedback and stuff that they got from Gobi. Apparently, they are aware of it, and I heard that they're going to be addressing it, or supposedly that's something I heard. So kind of off the record there, but yeah, hopefully we'll see some updates because I experienced the exact same thing that you're talking about there with some of my Gobi stuff. Okay, next one, Thread or Zigbee or something else.
Zigbee.
Should I hook the air now or
do it?
Definitely Zigbee. I don't know why
yeah.
we needed Thread. Doesn't work properly. Zigbee is Zigbee all the way. Definitely.
Yeah. I think I'd have to agree. When it comes down to it, I still gravitate towards Zigbee most of the time. Okay, and RGB lighting, yes or no in the home?
Oh hell yeah, definitely. I think if I walk into my kitchen and there isn't at least some color, I feel like my wife, I refer to her sometimes as Beige Becky, because if we're going out like picking stuff for the kitchen or picking stuff for a bathroom or whatever, she's like, "Oh, that's nice," and it's always beige. It's always like the blandest thing you can possibly get, and the only way to bring a bit of color into our lives is lighting. So RGB lights for sure, definitely.
Nice. Reed, you agree?
I like it for accent colors. Kids' rooms for sure. I like it here in like the office studio area, and definitely accent lighting. But
I don't like loads of it or anything.
Yeah, that's cool. I hear that. I see those comments sometimes when I do any type of like smart lighting, especially in the house. People are like, "Oh no, just white lights inside, and color looks so cheap," and or whatever, or you're not 12 anymore. I've seen that kind of comment. I'm like, dude, I mean, let me have my fun. But I agree. It's funny though, when I set up this studio here, I actually kind of told myself I really just didn't want like a typical gamers type of setup with just like RGB lighting all over the walls. Well, fast forward, and I literally have RGB lighting on every wall, I think, in this room, including the ceiling if I want it to be. But so I think there is a way you can do it where it doesn't look like a little kid's room.
What you've done is stylish, man. Your room looks really sweet. It doesn't look like a kid gamer's room at all.
Oh, thank you, man.
I agree.
I appreciate
it looks great.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I love it. I love the space, and but it is kind of funny because I did not intend to do that, but I just came across some stuff, and I found a cool way to do it. I will agree that like I put like under cabinet lights and stuff in the kitchen, and they can turn colors and everything, but I almost never do that in like those areas. It's pretty much just always like warm or cool white. So I guess it kind of depends maybe on the space that we're trying to do. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out and joining me today. This has been a real pleasure. Hopefully we can do it some more. I appreciate you, Paul, especially staying up late. I know you're getting tired.
Yeah, man, I don't want to end. I'm enjoying myself. I'll regret it tomorrow. Now I've had 2 glasses of wine, but yeah, I could do this all night.
Nice, man. Well,
it's been great. Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun, man, and I appreciate you guys taking the time. I will put links to both of y'all's channels. Actually, should already be down in the video description. If you're not already following, everybody go follow, support these guys, show them some love. And once again, thank you guys all for hanging out tonight. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna go follow that Reed guy now. I've not really followed him yet, so
he's a good follow.
I'm not sure about that. He's my nemesis, and everyone knows it.
That's right.
All right. Good night, everybody. God bless.
Thanks, Jonas.
See ya.